This video will be episode 8 of the Black Lion Origins campaign. At the end of the last episode, we traveled to Ortesia to see if we could find a gang alley that I could take, and I only found gang alleys that had 5 or more bandits protecting them. So I moved on to Kies while I was in the neighborhood to purchase my favorite noble mount, the favorite purchasable noble mount, I should amend, because yeah, there are a lot of noble mounts that I prefer over it, or 2 specifically, but this is the only one that you can actually purchase. It's called the Askarat, and you can find it in any of the Aserai towns. Having finished that transaction and embarrassed myself yet again in the arena there at Kies, I decided to move that a better place for a gang hideout would be Legetta. So I moved up there, and the reason why I think Legetta is a better location is it's closer to the Battanian lands, and the reason why I'm not just putting another gang alley in the Battanian lands is the more gang alleys you have in a kingdom, the quicker your crime rating will increase, and the more crime rating you have, the worse prices you'll get in the shops in the kingdom. So yeah, that's part of the reason why you'll have seen me like hanging on to stuff and not wanting to sell it in Britannia, is because I didn't want to suffer the diminished prices. But having taken my second gang alley, I've decided to change my sigil and flag to the white cross over a field of black. You can imagine that to be somewhat of a rudimentary skull and crossbones. This is I have dipped my toes into the criminal element now, and but I consider this more to be my privateer's flag. Like I am not a simple bandit. I am still open to being a mercenary and even a butcher of pigs and not men sometimes. So like yeah, we haven't entirely crossed over to the dark side, and I don't know that I ever intend to. But now we're looking to. We found some looters. We're looking to level up my athletic skill. So I went ahead and told my troops to retreat, and this is the tactic that I've been talking about. It's all about maintaining a favorable distance from the enemies and using up my arrows on them. And as you can see, my athletics skill is increasing with every hit. It's very effective, and you can use longbows obviously in this strategy, but initially, at the very least, I don't recommend it. The trouble with using a longbow is you need to ride out farther ahead, create more distance between your enemies and yourself, because you'll have to switch your weapons back to a longbow every time you're dismounting. So you'll need a little extra time to do that. But if you're using a noble longbow, which I don't have one yet, it's absolutely worth doing, because you'll do so much more damage. But yeah, we just hit athletics skill level 76, which means we can get the 75 perk of persuasion, which will make it so much easier to persuade a, a prospective wife to marry me, and so reduce the cost of getting married by a good deal. But we don't stop at 75, because at 175 we'll unlock the extra endurance point, and at 200 we'll unlock the extra vigor attribute point, which are both big deals. We have to get that extra endurance point before it's worthwhile to sink too much time, effort, and money into blacksmithing. But once we do get that 170, we can absolutely level our blacksmithing, and then we'll have 10 endurance attributes. That'll be fantastic. In the editing of this video, I am increasing the speed of these encounters. Generally speaking, I increase the speed just slightly, up to 1.1. But these encounters against the looters, for the sake of athletics, I increase it up to 1.2, and I hope that isn't too glaring when watching it. But I did feel like those encounters can be a little bit dragging, and I wanted to take a little bit of the edge off of that for you guys. So right now what I'm doing is I'm circling around to the backside of these looters, because when you give your troops the retreat command, I don't know how the computer figures it, but they decide somehow what route they want to take in order to retreat from the battlefield. Sometimes they decide to retreat out the complete opposite side of the map, and unless you're running a warband of entirely cavalry, then you want to keep an eye out, because you can lose troops on their way out. They won't defend themselves, and maybe not against looters, but in other situations, you can actually lose troops. But what I was doing was I was swinging around behind the looters, so that as they are chasing my troops out of the map, I have a more advantageous angle. I am no master marksman by any means. If you've watched my other series, the Black Lion series, I hardly ever use a bow. I mostly use javelins, and so I'm not terrible at it. I'm very unpracticed at it at this point. I'm getting a little better, and the increase in bow skill helps. I think probably the best strategy for when you're starting to level your bow skill, as far as your aim goes, is to just aim for center mass. There's a strong impulse to try and zero in on that headshot, but you're not accurate enough early on in order to reliably hit it, and so if you aim for center mass, then you've got a much better likely of at least hitting the target, um, and that's way better than missing, which is more likely than not to happen if you aim for a headshot. And you can sometimes miss center mass and make a headshot, which is pretty peachy. So the reason why I like this, well, one of the reasons I like this light cavalry lance in the early game is because it is couchable, and if you have any kind of experience with trying to use a thrust weapon against single-handed melee infantry, you'll know that they will parry that like every single time almost, and it becomes very exhausting trying to kill them that way. But if you can couch your lance against them, they can't parry that. And if they don't have a shield, they can't parry it at all. Like if they have a shield, they can parry it, but not very many times because it does quite a bit of damage to that shield. And there's a perk that you can get actually in your polearm skill tree that I think triples the damage to the shield. So it's pretty rare that a shield actually stands up to more than one hit. We're going to be seeing a whole lot more of this me taking on warbands alone business. I've gotten to a point, I feel like, where I'm more comfortable than I once was, and I feel like I can take on these enemies. When you can take them on alone, you should, because you're going to get way more EXP. In this situation, I'm absolutely going to deal with this cavalry before trying to shoot the other infantry. And if you get these guys in a situation where they've got their one-handed weapon out, it's really hard to get a hit on them at that point. They're gonna pick up their shield and block more often than you'd like. So I just opted in this situation to shoot the horse out from under him. I don't like trying to shoot around a shield, but you'll see that proffered me 2 athletic skills killing that highwayman from foot. So that was worth doing. I don't know if you could hear that or not, but I heard that rock hit my horse, and so I immediately turned around, because one of the big dangers of this in way of leveling your athletics is if a ranged attack does hit your horse, it'll spook it, and your horse will run away, and that can spell disaster if you're fighting enemies that have more athletic skill than you and can run faster than you. Because I really have no shot at killing anybody with a spear at this point on foot. That's not going to happen. But we were able to catch the horse and managed another win. Another 6 athletic skill. Very nearly to 100. So in this circumstance, I decided to just go ahead and walk past those 3 mountain bandits, because I didn't feel like it was worth to attack them and get the disorganized buff just for, even if I got all 3 of the kills, it wouldn't have been, well, I guess it would have been worth it, because I would absolutely attack, but I couldn't guarantee that I'd have gotten all 3 of the kills, and so here we are in basically the same situation against, I think it was 12 mountain bandits, and we're just going to try and get as many kills as we can before the quote unquote allied troops close the distance and kill these bandits. I don't think we did too bad. We got 6 kills out of 12. Not too bad at all. Able to recruit one of our highwayman prisoners, which is fantastic. You've always got to check and see what's legendary in the shop. It was a legendary shoulders there, and they were questionably better. I think there was more armor class, but the shoulders that I have right now had more like arm and body armor class. So when I get in this fight in the arena, I will always switch to sword immediately. If I'm given the bow, switch to sword immediately and run up there with the melee, because it's a huge advantage to be fighting 3 on 2 versus just like using your bow. Your attacks are going to come out slow using a bow, and it's not going to be the advantage that your team could get. I love that sprint perk. It makes your movement speed so much nicer. So we're of course retreating our troops, and I see there's a brigand in that mass of mountain bandits. So we're just gonna go ahead and take him out before we try and level any athletic skill. I don't like messing around with those javelins if I can help it. Hit me with a rock once in a while, I'm fine with it, but no javelins, please. It's kind of funny. A while back, I was doing a gang alley, like for my first gang alley takeover. I was fighting the bandits in the gang alley, or so I thought I was anyway. But my the colors of my clothes and sigil were gray, and it was so drab that I blended right in with the enemy bandits in the gang alley, and I spent the whole encounter beating on my own troops. And I said then, I was like, oh man, I need to like change my colors to make it easier to tell when I'm fighting, when I'm accidentally hitting my own troops. I've changed my colors finally, but I kept it still pretty drab. So because these are archers, we're just going to go ahead and give my guys a shot at making some EXP. I could retreat them all and face all of these archers alone. It's a thing that could be done, but it's also a thing that could be done that they could take me out. It's still a pretty good chunk of troops here. So we're gonna go ahead and take them out with the warband for our final battle of the episode. Anyway, this has been episode 8 of the Black Lion Origins campaign, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.